In a world where limits are meant to be broken, humanity dares to build the impossible. From towering skyscrapers that touch the clouds to massive bridges stretching across endless waters, these are not just structures, they are symbols of ambition, power, and innovation. Driven by vision, built with precision, and tested against nature itself, this is the story of the greatest mega projects ever created. Welcome to the edge of human achievement. In Suzhou, modern architecture sometimes takes the form of abstraction rather than tradition. The gate to the east rises at the edge of Jinji Lake as a massive asymmetrical arch-like structure, often interpreted as a symbolic gateway to the city. But unlike classical gates, this one does not frame a passage in a simple rectangle. It distorts it into a leaning void that feels intentionally off balance. At first glance, it resembles a monumental doorway suspended in midair, its two towers leaning toward each other while leaving a large curved opening at the center. But this opening is not static. It shifts visually depending on perspective, distance, and reflection from the lake. The design is intentionally controversial because it rejects symmetry. Instead of representing stability, it represents transition. The structure rises over 300 meters, combining office space and commercial functions within a frame that feels more sculptural than functional. Glass panels wrap around its surface in a uniform skin, reflecting sky and water in constantly changing gradients. At night, illumination turns the building into a glowing outline floating above the lake. The reflection doubles its form, creating an illusion of a complete loop that does not physically exist. The structure appears more balanced in water than in reality, as if the reflection corrects its asymmetry. But beneath the visual impact lies serious engineering complexity. The leaning geometry introduces uneven load distribution, requiring reinforced core structures and carefully calculated support systems. Wind forces are especially critical, as the open central void can channel air currents unpredictably through the frame. Inside, the experience is more conventional, but still shaped by the exterior logic. Spaces feel slightly shifted, perspectives subtly angled by the curvature of the building envelope. It is not a traditional gate. It is a conceptual threshold made permanent, a structure that does not simply mark entry into a city, but questions what entry itself means. Los Angeles does not build quietly, and this structure proves it immediately. The Walt Disney Concert Hall rises like folded motion, a surface of stainless steel that behaves less like architecture and more like frozen wind. From every angle, the building shifts its identity. One moment it looks soft and curved, the next it feels sharp and fragmented, as if light itself is breaking across its surface. Designed by Frank Gehry, the structure rejects traditional symmetry. Instead of straight walls and predictable geometry, it uses flowing planes that overlap, twist, and reflect the sky in unpredictable ways. The result is a building that never looks identical twice. Morning light turns it into a pale, glowing sculpture. Midday sun transforms it into a mirror of chaos. At night, it becomes a dark mass interrupted by controlled internal illumination. But the real complexity is not visual, it is acoustic. Inside, the concert hall was engineered with extreme precision. Every curve, every wooden surface, every angle of seating is designed to guide sound with almost surgical accuracy. Music does not simply fill the room, it travels, bounces, softens, and converges in ways that feel physically tangible. The audience becomes part of the system. A whisper on stage can reach the farthest seat with clarity. A single note can feel like it is moving through layers of space before arriving at the listener. The hall does not amplify sound, it shapes it. Structurally, the building is a puzzle of steel frameworks hidden beneath its flowing exterior panels. Each stainless steel sheet was individually adjusted to fit the curvature, meaning no two panels are exactly identical. Wind loads across the curved surfaces are unpredictable, requiring careful engineering beneath the aesthetic freedom. Outside, the building interacts constantly with the city. Reflections of traffic, sky, and nearby towers ripple across its metallic skin, turning the structure into a moving canvas of urban energy. It is not a static landmark. It behaves like a musical instrument shaped into architecture, waiting for light, sound, and time to activate it. Chongqing is a city built on layers, roads stacked above rivers, buildings rising from cliffs, movement carved into vertical terrain. In this environment, a shopping mall is not just a commercial space, it is a vertical experience system. The Guanghuan-style mega malls in Chongqing and similar large-scale complexes across the city are designed less like simple retail centers and more like self-contained urban environments. They often combine shopping, entertainment, dining, and transit flow into a single multi-level structure that behaves almost like an indoor city. At first entry, the scale is disorienting. Floors do not feel like simple horizontal layers. Because of the city's terrain and architectural stacking, different entrances can land you on different levels of the same building. What appears as ground level from one side may be the middle of the structure from another. Inside, circulation becomes the core design challenge. Escalators, bridges, ramps, and open atriums are arranged not just for access, but for psychological orientation. Without them, the space would collapse into confusion. With them, it becomes a controlled maze of movement where each path leads through shifting commercial and visual zones. Light is carefully manipulated. Large voids in the structure allow daylight to penetrate deep into the interior, breaking the feeling of enclosure. Artificial lighting then takes over, shifting color temperature depending on time and foot traffic, subtly guiding human flow without obvious direction. But what defines these spaces most is density. People, sound, signage, motion, all layered into a continuous urban pulse. The mall becomes a micro-version of Chongqing itself, complex, vertical, interconnected, and always active. It is not just a place to shop. It is a simulation of the city compressed into interior architecture. Los Caracoles Pass, Chile, the story of its construction. At 3,200 meters above sea level, in the Andes, in an era before modern machinery, someone had to figure out how to build a road up a cliff that was nearly vertical. The solution they found looks like a spiral, and it works perfectly. The Los Caracoles Pass sits on the route between Santiago, Chile and Mendoza, Argentina, and crossing it on a road was considered, for a long time, a project of theoretical interest rather than practical possibility. The Chilean side of the Andes at this point rises in a nearly unbroken cliff face from the valley floor to the plateau above, the rock offering almost no natural incline gentle enough for a road. Horse trails cross the Andes at various high points, but a road capable of carrying wheeled vehicles and eventually motor vehicles was a different challenge entirely. The road was constructed in stages, with the most challenging section, the Chilean ascent, with its famous spiral of hairpin bends, taking shape in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The engineers faced the same fundamental problem that Dongani had faced at Stelvio: how to gain altitude efficiently on a gradient that vehicles could manage, using a cliff face that offered very little horizontal space to work with. At altitude, both the machinery and the workers operated at reduced efficiency. The thin air above 2,500 meters noticeably reduced the performance of steam-powered equipment and the physical endurance of the construction workers. Supply chains to the construction sites were themselves a logistical challenge, requiring pack animals to carry equipment up the very cliff the road was intended to replace. The spiral solution, giving the pass its name of the snails, was the answer to the gradient problem. By winding the road in a tightening coil up the cliff face, the engineers multiplied the horizontal distance of the ascent while keeping the vertical gain per meter of road within manageable limits. The mathematics of the spiral dictated the positions of the hairpin bends. The cliff face itself dictated where the road could be cut and where it had to be supported by retaining structures. For a long time after its completion, the Los Caracals section was famous for the absence of safety barriers. The road existed as a ribbon of asphalt pressed against the cliff, with no meaningful protection between a vehicle and the drop below. This was partly a consequence of the construction era and partly a consequence of the remoteness of the location, which made maintenance and improvement expensive and slow. In recent decades, barriers have been added to some sections, but the fundamental character of the road is unchanged. The 29 consecutive hairpin bends on the Chilean approach are still the same 29 bends that were carved into the Andes by hand and explosives over a century ago. And if Los Caracals amazes you with the geometry of human ambition in the Andes, wait until you travel to Norway, where engineers who needed to connect a series of small islands along one of the most storm-lashed coastlines in Europe decided the answer was not a tunnel or a conventional bridge, but a road that rides the waves themselves. Japan does not treat speed as chaos, it treats it as control. The Shinkansen network is one of the most precise transportation systems ever created, where movement is not only fast, but mathematically predictable. Trains glide across vast distances with a level of stability that feels almost unnatural, especially when contrasted with the complexity of the terrain they cross. From outside, the trains appear almost minimal, smooth, aerodynamic forms designed to reduce air resistance and noise. But that simplicity hides decades of engineering refinement. Every curve of the train's nose is shaped to manage pressure waves when entering tunnels, reducing the sonic boom effect known as micropressure waves. Inside, the experience is controlled calm. Seating is arranged with exact spacing for comfort and efficiency. Vibrations are minimized through advanced suspension systems that isolate passengers from track irregularities. Even at high speeds, a glass of water remains nearly still. But the real engineering brilliance lies in the network itself. Schedules are synchronized to the second. Delays are measured in fractions of a minute and treated as system-level anomalies. Tracks are maintained with extreme precision, often inspected more frequently than conventional rail systems anywhere else in the world. The system is also resilient. Japan's seismic activity requires constant earthquake detection integration. When tremors occur, automatic braking systems activate within seconds, slowing or stopping trains before severe ground motion reaches the rails. At speed, landscapes blur into continuous motion. Mountains, cities, coastlines, all passing in smooth transitions that feel less like travel and more like time compression. Yet despite its speed, the Shinkansen is not chaotic. It is silence moving through space at hundreds of kilometers per hour. A system where velocity and precision are no longer opposites, but the same idea refined to its limit. In the Swiss Alps, water is not only a resource, it is stored potential energy. The Emossen Dam holds back vast volumes of Alpine meltwater behind a massive curved concrete wall. From a distance, it appears quiet and stable, but its function is dynamic. It regulates water flow for hydroelectric power generation across the region. The dam's curvature is not aesthetic, it is structural optimization. The arch shape distributes hydrostatic pressure from the reservoir into the surrounding rock walls, reducing stress on the concrete itself. Every meter of water height increases pressure exponentially, making this geometry essential for stability. Behind the dam, the reservoir behaves like a suspended alpine lake. Water levels shift seasonally depending on snowmelt, rainfall, and energy demand. In summer, glacial runoff increases capacity. In winter, controlled release supports electricity production during peak consumption. Inside the structure, massive tunnels and conduits guide water toward turbines. As water descends through penstocks, gravitational energy is converted into mechanical rotation and then into electrical output. The system operates continuously, transforming natural elevation into usable power. The surrounding environment is equally important. Mountain slopes, rock stability, and seismic conditions all influence long-term safety. Monitoring systems track micro-movements in the dam structure to ensure that pressure remains evenly distributed. From the top, the view is deceptive. The lake appears calm, almost still, but beneath it is a controlled energy system under immense force. It is not a static barrier. It is a regulator of motion, holding back water not to stop it, but to release its energy in controlled form. Iron ore train, Mauritania. It is over 2 kilometers long. It carries 200 carriages of black iron ore. And if you want the real experience, you ride on top of the ore itself, in the open desert air, for 12 hours. The iron ore train in Mauritania is one of the longest and heaviest trains in the world. It runs from the iron ore mines of Zaouarate in the interior of the Sahara Desert to the port city of Nouadhibou on the Atlantic coast, a journey of approximately 700 kilometers through some of the most remote and inhospitable terrain on Earth. It is not a tourist train. It is a working freight train, and the ore it carries is the economic lifeblood of an entire country. There are passenger seats available in a small carriage attached to the train, and they are basic, cramped, and serviceable. Most travelers who make this journey deliberately choose not to use them. The real experience, the experience that has given this train its reputation among adventurers and long-distance travelers, is riding on top of the ore cars themselves. Open air, iron or dust, Saharan wind. 12 hours under the desert sky. The moment you climb up onto the ore car and find a position among the dark black cargo, the iron ore dust begins its work. It seeps into every fiber of every piece of clothing you are wearing. It coats your skin in a fine dark layer. It finds its way into the gaps of your safety glasses, into your nostrils, into the back of your throat, where it sits with a strong metallic taste that no amount of water will entirely remove. The pungent smell of dried machine oil rises from the locomotive ahead and mixes with the mineral sharpness of the ore beneath you. And then the train moves, and the Sahara opens up. The scale of the desert that the train crosses is something that photographs and descriptions cannot convey. The emptiness is not empty in the way that a vacant room is empty. It is vast and alive with silence and light and the particular quality of heat that belongs only to the deep Sahara. At night, the sky overhead is overwhelming. Far from any city light, the stars are not points of light, but a solid mass, the Milky Way blazing across the entire dome of the sky from horizon to horizon. You lie back on the iron ore and look up and feel the train moving beneath you like a living thing and the stars above you like a ceiling over the whole world. The discomfort is absolute. The freedom is absolute. These two facts exist simultaneously and neither diminishes the other. And if the iron ore train takes you through the heart of the Sahara with nothing between you and the universe except 200 cars of black ore. Wait until you board a narrow-gauge railway in Canada that was built during the Klondike Gold Rush hugs granite cliffs hundreds of meters above the valley floor and makes even experienced mountaineers reach for something solid to hold. When the Stonecutters Bridge opened in 2009, it connected Stonecutters Island to the Tsingyi area across Rambler Channel in one of the most logistically complex harbor environments in Asia. Two cable-stayed towers rise 298 meters from the water, among the tallest bridge towers in the world, supporting a main span of 118 meters across a deep-water channel that is at this location, one of the primary approaches to the Kwai Tsing container terminal. The world's busiest container port by annual throughput, the ships that pass beneath the Stonecutters Bridge are not the largest in the world, but they are among the most economically significant vessels whose schedules are measured in days and whose deviation from those schedules is measured in millions of dollars. The cable-stayed system of the Stonecutters Bridge incorporates an automatic cable adjustment mechanism, a real-time structural monitoring and response system that detects changes in cable tension caused by temperature variation, wind loading, and traffic patterns, and adjusts the cable geometry incrementally to maintain the intended structural configuration. The bridge is, in a meaningful sense, constantly correcting itself. The deck position that you drive across is not the deck position that was designed and installed at completion. It is the deck position that the monitoring system has continuously maintained through thousands of incremental adjustments over the years since opening. The visual disappearance of the towers into Hong Kong's harbor mist, a phenomenon documented by the Bridges Management Authority as a navigation concern for drivers approaching in low visibility, is not merely aesthetic. The steel gray of the tower surfaces against Hong Kong's frequent marine fog layer creates a contrast profile that can be insufficient for drivers to acquire a clear visual reference during approach. The Bridge Management Authority has installed additional lighting specifically to address this condition. Even so, drivers approaching in fog report the specific disorientation of seeing the bridge deck emerge from mist without being able to orient relative to the tower position, arriving at the bridge without the visual context that normal visibility provides. In modern maritime engineering, a ship is no longer just transportation, it is a floating city. The icon of the seas represents one of the largest cruise vessels ever constructed, designed not only for travel, but for continuous habitation at sea. It contains layered systems of movement, leisure, engineering, and energy management within a single floating structure. From the outside, its scale is overwhelming. Multiple decks rise above the waterline in stacked terraces, balconies, and open-air zones. The hull itself is engineered to displace enormous volumes of seawater while maintaining stability across changing ocean conditions. But the real complexity is internal. Propulsion systems, power generation units, water treatment facilities, and climate control systems operate continuously to support thousands of passengers. The ship functions as an isolated ecosystem, recycling water, managing waste, and maintaining air quality in a closed maritime environment. Stability is critical. Stabilizer fins extend beneath the waterline to reduce rolling motion caused by waves. Navigation systems continuously adjust course to minimize exposure to severe sea conditions. Above deck, the environment is intentionally controlled. Artificial beaches, pools, entertainment zones, and interior districts simulate land-based urban experiences while floating in an entirely different medium. The psychological effect is unusual. Passengers experience permanence without land contact. Days blend into each other without fixed reference points to geography. It is not a ship in the traditional sense. It is a self-contained, moving city that never stops adapting to the ocean around it. In the mountains above Da Nang, a bridge appears to be held by something impossible. The Golden Bridge is suspended in the air by two giant stone hands that emerge from the hillside, as if the landscape itself is lifting the walkway upward. But the illusion is intentional. The hands are sculpted structures designed to create a surreal threshold between nature and architecture. The bridge does not span a river or valley in the conventional sense. It spans perception. At first step, visitors enter a narrow, elevated walkway lined with golden railings and soft mist drifting through the mountain air. The height is not extreme compared to engineering megastructures, but the surrounding fog creates a sense of floating separation from the world below. The real focus is the curvature of the path. It bends gently across the ridgeline, guiding movement in a slow visual rhythm that matches the shifting clouds around it. The structure is supported by steel beneath, but visually it feels as though it is resting in open air. The stone hands are not load-bearing in a structural sense. They function as symbolic anchors, massive sculptural forms that give the bridge a narrative identity. Weathering effects make them appear ancient, as if they were carved by time rather than built recently. Wind and altitude define the atmosphere. Mist rolls across the bridge unpredictably, sometimes obscuring the entire view, sometimes revealing distant mountain layers that appear and disappear in seconds. It is not just a crossing. It is a staged encounter between human design and atmospheric instability. A bridge that feels like it is being held by the world itself. Frying Pan Lake. Imagine a lake that boils, not metaphorically, not gently. A lake that simmers, steams, and bubbles constantly. A body of water so hot, so geothermally active, so alive with the raw energy of the planet beneath it, that it earned its name from the cooking vessel it most closely resembles. Welcome to Frying Pan Lake, the largest hot spring on Earth. Frying Pan Lake sits within the Wamingu volcanic valley on New Zealand's North Island, a landscape so geothermally active that the ground itself seems to breathe. The valley was created in June 1886 when Mount Tarawera erupted in one of the Southern Hemisphere's most catastrophic volcanic events of the modern era. A cataclysmic eruption that destroyed the famous pink and white terraces, killed over 150 people, and reshaped a vast area of the central North Island within a matter of hours. The explosion left behind a chain of craters and thermal features that have been evolving and expanding ever since. Frying Pan Lake occupies what was once Echo Crater, blown open by the Tarawera eruption and subsequently flooded by groundwater superheated by the volcanic system below. The lake spans approximately 38,000 square meters, easily the largest hot spring in the world. Its waters hover between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius at the surface, though near the hydrothermal vents on the lake floor, temperatures are far higher. The surface is in constant, restless motion, streams of bubbles rising from below, columns of steam ascending into the sky, waves of heat shimmering across the water in the cool morning air. From the viewing platforms at the lake's edge, the effect is mesmerizing and faintly menacing, as if the lake is alive and aware of your presence. The water is a pale, slightly milky blue-gray, colored by the silica and mineral content dissolved from the volcanic rock below. The shoreline is edged with bright orange, yellow, and white mineral deposits, silica sinter and sulfur compounds that coat the rocks in vivid chemical paint. The whole scene looks simultaneously beautiful and hostile, a reminder that beauty and danger are not mutually exclusive in the natural world. The valley surrounding the lake is equally extraordinary. Steaming cliffs, boiling streams, and hydrothermal craters line the walking tracks that wind through the valley. The Wamingu geyser, when it was active in the early 20th century, was the most powerful geyser ever recorded, shooting columns of water and rock to heights of over 450 meters. Though it no longer erupts, the thermal energy that powered it is still very much present beneath the valley floor. Wamingu as a whole is a geological laboratory unlike any other, young enough that scientists can study processes in real time that elsewhere would take millions of years to observe. At Frying Pan Lake, you are not simply looking at a geological feature. You are watching the Earth's interior revealed, simmering and restless just beneath your feet. The photograph was taken from a specific position on the Atlantic Ocean Road in Møre-og-Romsdal County, Norway, using a telephoto lens aimed at a bridge in the middle distance. The photograph shows a road that rises to a peak, curves slightly to the right, and then appears to end, to simply stop, with nothing visible beyond the curve except sky. It looks like a road being built to launch something into the air. It looks like the beginning of a ramp to nowhere. It looks, in the specific and disorienting way of the best optical illusions, like an error in the design of reality. The Storsøysundet Bridge does not end in the sky. The road continues on the other side of the crest, descending to the next island in the Atlantic Ocean road chain, a series of 8 bridges and connected islands that stretch across the Norwegian Sea between Molde and Kristiansund. The illusion, which is genuine and visible from the road, as well as in photographs, though the full force of it requires the right angle and the right moment, is created by the combination of the bridge's S-curve design, the camber of the roadway, and the perspective effects of the surrounding open ocean, which provides no consistent visual reference for scale or distance. The Storsøysundet Bridge was listed by BBC Top Gear in 2011 as one of the most dangerous roads in the world. The listing was based not on accident statistics, but on the character of the driving experience. The tight curves, the low barriers, the direct exposure to North Atlantic weather, and the wave wash that, during significant storms, crosses the roadway surface. The bridge does not have emergency pedestrian lanes. The roadway has no dedicated protection from the side winds that come off the Norwegian Sea at velocities that require active steering correction. And the waves, the North Atlantic waves that have been building since the coast of Canada, arrive at the Storsøysundet Bridge with no attenuation. When conditions are severe, seawater reaches the road surface and the bridge becomes, temporarily, a surface through which moving water and moving vehicles share the same space. Audi selected the Storsøysundet Bridge as a test site for their body stabilization systems. This is a meaningful data point. Automotive engineers, tasked with finding conditions extreme enough to demonstrate their technology's value under real-world stress, chose this bridge, not a laboratory, not a controlled test track. This specific bridge, in real Norwegian weather, where the conditions exceed what any controlled environment can replicate. On the banks of the Mississippi River, the landscape shifts from natural flow to engineered symbolism. The gateway arch rises from flat ground with no gradual transition, no supporting visual clutter, just a single, continuous curve of stainless steel that seems to bend reality upward. It is both minimal and extreme at the same time, a structure that removes everything unnecessary until only geometry remains. At 192 meters tall, it is not simply large, it is mathematically precise. The arch follows a weighted catenary curve, a shape that naturally distributes stress along its entire length. This means there is no single weak point carrying excessive load. Instead, every segment of steel participates in the balance, sharing forces in a continuous system of tension and compression. That is what makes the structure feel almost impossible, because it does not rely on visible reinforcement, no external supports, no hidden scaffolding. The strength is embedded entirely within the curve itself. Inside the hollow structure, a small tram system climbs through the legs of the arch. The capsules tilt as they rise, following the narrowing geometry. The sensation is disorienting, like moving through a structure that is both vertical and curved at the same time. There are no straight paths inside, only gradual shifts in orientation that mirror the form outside. As you ascend, the city below begins to flatten. St. Louis spreads outward in a grid softened by distance, while the Mississippi River cuts through the land like a slow-moving boundary between histories. From this height, the arch does not feel like a monument to the sky, it feels like a marker between eras of human expansion. At the top, wind forces become intense and unpredictable. The structure sways subtly within engineered tolerances so small they are imperceptible without instruments. Steel expands in heat, contracts in cold, and the arch continuously adjusts to these changes without losing its symmetry. This quiet movement is constant, invisible to visitors. Essential to survival. At sunrise, the arch becomes a razor-thin silhouette cutting into light, almost disappearing against the brightening sky. At night, it transforms into a glowing outline hovering above the riverfront, separating darkness into two halves of the city. It does not behave like a tower. It does not behave like a bridge. It behaves like a curve that refused to stop moving and was frozen at the exact moment it became perfect. In Guangzhou, the skyline does not rise in straight lines, it twists, narrows, and redefines vertical space. The Canton Tower is one of the most recognizable modern landmarks in China, but what makes it truly unusual is not its height alone, it is its shape. The structure appears to tighten at the center, as if the entire tower has been gently twisted by an invisible force, creating a hyperboloid silhouette that feels both engineered and organic. At over 600 meters tall, it dominates the Pearl River landscape. Yet instead of feeling heavy or rigid, it looks almost flexible, like a structure caught mid-motion. This illusion is not accidental. The twisting design is a direct response to structural efficiency. By narrowing at the waist and expanding at the top and base, the tower distributes wind loads more effectively. In a region prone to typhoons and high-speed gusts, this shape reduces resistance while maintaining stability. Every curve is a calculation, every angle is a solution to force, but the engineering is only part of the story. At night, the Canton Tower transforms into a living gradient of light. LEDs wrap around its surface, shifting colors across its spiral frame. It becomes a vertical wave of illumination, reflecting across the Pearl River like a second, inverted skyline. From a distance, it feels almost liquid. As if the tower is not built from steel and concrete, but from motion itself, frozen in place. Inside, observation decks reveal a different experience. Elevators climb through the twisting core, where structural beams intersect in complex patterns. As you ascend, the city below compresses into layers, bridges, highways, and river traffic blending into a single flowing system. At the highest points, the curvature of the tower changes perception. The horizon bends slightly due to height and distance, making the world feel less like a flat city and more like a layered map. But the most striking aspect is psychological. Unlike traditional towers that emphasize dominance, the Canton Tower feels dynamic. It does not assert control over the skyline, it participates in it, constantly shifting its visual identity depending on angle, light, and distance. It is not a fixed monument, it is a vertical motion captured in architecture. Wuxi Cliff Road, China. They were farmers, not engineers, not soldiers, not government workers. Just farmers who decided that the cliff was not going to keep them isolated for another generation. The Wuxi Cliff Road, also known as the Lion Eye Cliff Highway, is located in Wuxi County, Chongqing Municipality, in the southern part of China's Sichuan Basin region. The road runs along the sheer face of the lying Grand Canyon, a dramatic limestone gorge of extraordinary depth and vertical extent, and it is approximately 1-2 kilometers long, carved directly into the cliff face at a height of nearly 1,000 meters above the canyon floor. The road was built almost entirely by the villagers of Jiajiang themselves, without significant external assistance, beginning in the mid-1980s and completing around 2001. The motivation was straightforward. The village of Jiajiang, like many communities, in the deeply carved limestone canyon country of Sichuan and Chongqing, had been effectively cut off from accessible road transport by the cliffs that surrounded it. The canyon walls that make the landscape so spectacularly beautiful were also the walls of a prison for the people who lived on the plateau above. The nearest road access required a journey of many kilometers on footpaths that were impractical for any significant transport purpose. The decision to build the road was collective, made in village meetings over several seasons, and the work when it began was organized in the same collective spirit. Families were assigned sections of the cliff. Work parties were assembled, and the basic tools required, hammers, chisels, hand drills, ropes, and explosives secured through the local government's support of rural development projects, were gathered and distributed. The method was essentially the same as had been used at Guoliang and at the Shiban Cliff. Suspension from the cliff tops, drilling into the limestone face, blasting to create the rough ledge, and then hand finishing the surface into something usable. The limestone of the lying Grand Canyon is somewhat softer than the Taihang mountain rock at Guoliang, which slightly reduced the time per meter of advance, but the scale of the project was comparable, and the duration, nearly 15 to 20 years of continuous work, reflects the enormous challenge involved. The completed road is extraordinary. It runs along the cliff face in a strip barely wide enough for a single vehicle, with the canyon dropping nearly a kilometer below on the outer side and the limestone cliff rising above on the inner side. The views from the road are simply not available from anywhere else. The depth of the canyon, the scale of the geological formations, the distance to the canyon floor, all of these create a visual experience of genuine power. The canyon can be reached from Chongqing City by road to Wuxi County, and then onward to the canyon entrance, making it accessible for day trips from the regional capital. And if the Wuxi Cliff Road honors the farmers who built it, wait until you travel to Russia's Far East. To a road that was built not by farmers or soldiers of war, but by prisoners of the Gulag who dug through permafrost so hard it was indistinguishable from frozen concrete, and who were buried beneath the road they were building when the cold killed them before the road was finished. In San Francisco, the fog does not hide the bridge, it completes it. The Golden Gate Bridge is one of the most photographed structures in the world, yet no single image fully captures its presence. It changes constantly with weather, light, and perspective, sometimes appearing as a solid industrial structure and other times dissolving into the mist like a suggestion rather than a physical object. Its international orange color was never meant to be decorative. It was chosen for visibility in fog conditions, ensuring ships could see the structure even when the Pacific weather reduced visibility to near zero. Ironically, the same fog that demanded visibility now gives the bridge its most iconic atmosphere. Structurally, it is a suspension system of extreme scale. Two massive towers rise above the strait, anchoring cables that curve downward under tension, forming a parabolic shape that distributes enormous loads across the span. The roadway hangs beneath this system, held not by rigidity but by balance, every cable sharing a fraction of the weight, every section responding to movement in real time. And the movement is constant. Wind from the Pacific pushes through the strait with unpredictable force. The bridge sways subtly, flexing under pressure, expanding and contracting with temperature shifts. It is engineered to move because stillness would mean structural failure. Walking across it is a sensory contradiction. The traffic hum is steady, the wind is chaotic, the view is endless. Below, the water churns with currents that seem indifferent to human engineering above. At certain moments, fog rolls in so thick that the towers disappear entirely, leaving only the roadway suspended in white emptiness. Then, slowly, the structure re-emerges, first cables, then towers, then the full span reconnecting land to land. It does not simply connect two points, it survives between them. In the Netherlands, the sea is not a boundary, it is a constant negotiation. The Delta Works is a vast system of dams, storm surge barriers, sluices, and levees designed to protect low-lying land from the North Sea. It was developed after catastrophic flooding, transforming coastal defense into one of the most advanced hydraulic engineering systems in the world. This is not a single structure, it is an interconnected network. Massive movable barriers can close off entire estuaries during storm surges, preventing seawater from entering inland regions. Under normal conditions, these barriers remain open, allowing tidal flow and marine ecosystems to function naturally. The system operates like a living gate. It responds to weather forecasts, tidal data, and sea level monitoring in real time. When storm conditions rise, automated systems initiate closure protocols that seal vulnerable waterways within hours. The engineering challenge is long-term adaptability. Sea levels are gradually rising, and the system must be continuously upgraded to maintain effectiveness over decades. Materials, hydraulics, and structural reinforcements are designed with future climate scenarios in mind. From a distance, many of the structures appear minimal. Low-profile barriers, subtle dams, and quiet water channels blend into the coastal landscape. But beneath this simplicity lies one of the most complex flood defense systems ever constructed. It does not block the sea permanently. It negotiates with it dynamically, a national-scale mechanism for controlling water without stopping it entirely. A steel spine arches gracefully over the azure waves of the Palk Strait. This is where land meets the boundless sea. The Pamban Bridge, India's first sea bridge, serves as a vital artery. It connects the mainland to the revered island of Rameswaram. Completed in 1914, this engineering feat spans just over 2.3 kilometers. Its rusting girders tell stories of resilience. Trains glide across this structure mere feet above turbulent waters. This creates the illusion of sailing on the ocean's surface. Yet the bridge is no stranger to calamity. In December 1964, a ferocious cyclone reared its head. It dismantled sections of the bridge, leaving only wreckage in its wake. Years later, in 2013, a runaway barge weighing 242 tons collided with its piers. This rendered this vital corridor inoperable for weeks. But it is not just storms or collisions that define the Pamban Bridge. The bridge is a marvel of human ingenuity and tenacity. It is designed to withstand the wrath of the elements. It features a unique opening mechanism, allowing ships to pass below. This is a rare sight that leaves both sailors and landlubbers in awe. This duality of function and beauty is where its true strength lies. The bridge is also a gateway to a pilgrimage. Every year, thousands of devotees traverse its length. They journey to the sacred shores of Rameswaram, where faith meets tradition. With each train that crosses, a blend of past and present unfolds. These aging tracks are where iron and spirituality intertwine. When the last train rumbles past, the waters below continue to ebb and flow. It is as if they are whispering the secrets of countless lives. These lives have traversed this man-made marvel. The bamboo train, or nori, is a relic of ingenuity born from necessity in Battambang province, Cambodia. These improvised vehicles glide over disused railway tracks, remnants of a bygone era. Built from a simple bamboo platform and two axles, it represents local resourcefulness amid the remnants of a complex transportation history. When the Khmer Rouge regime abandoned the railway system, the tracks fell into disrepair, yet the need for transportation remained. Thus, the Nori was born, a solution to a problem many have forgotten. Riding the bamboo train is an experience like no other. The platform, open and unguarded, dances over the tracks, reaching speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. Passengers grip the sides, exhilarated and fearful in equal measure, as they dodge potholes and negotiate sharp turns. The thrill lies not just in the speed, but in the journey through lush rice paddies and vibrant villages. Here, life unfolds at a different pace. What sets this contraption apart? Beyond its simplicity, it embodies the spirit of communal effort. When two trains meet on the single-track line, one must be disassembled to let the other pass. This act of cooperation, a moment of shared humanity, illustrates the essence of the Nori. The Burma Railway, often referred to as the Death Railway, stretches approximately 258 miles across Thailand and Myanmar. Constructed by the Imperial Japanese in 1942, this iron pathway was carved through dense jungles and treacherous terrains. It facilitated the transport of troops and supplies during World War II. What began as a strategic military endeavor has transformed into a dark chapter of human history. This chapter is marked by unspeakable suffering. Over 90,000 laborers, many of whom were prisoners of war, faced brutal conditions. They endured malaria, starvation, and relentless toil. An astonishing 1 in every 6 would lose their life. They left behind ghostly remnants of their struggle etched in the very ground they worked upon. The railway includes over 600 bridges, from imposing structures to fragile spans of wood. The most notorious is Bridge 277, which towers over the Kwai River. The Whampoa Viaduct offers a chilling vista. Wooden ties are driven deep into the cliff face. This is an engineering feat that hovers precariously over the swirling waters below. It stands as a haunting reminder of the lengths to which humanity will go under duress. Many still traverse these tracks, navigating the steep cliffs and sheer ravines. Countless lives were sacrificed in this place. The journey reveals not just the remnants of a railway, but the scars of history. It shows the unyielding determination of those who built it, despite the dire cost. Standing here, confronting a landscape that bears the weight of anguish and resilience, one must ponder. What echoes of the past resonate in the steel and wood beneath their feet? The Karakoram Highway is a lifeline between Pakistan and China. It stretches over 800 miles, weaving through treacherous landscapes. Carved from rock that has witnessed millennia of geological upheaval. This road defies nature and showcases engineering marvels. It exists in a world where few dare to tread. With a dizzying elevation that peaks at over 15,000 feet. It connects cultures and economies. This allows for unprecedented trade and travel between two nations. Yet the price of its existence has been steep. Over 1,000 lives were claimed during its construction. Workers battled relentless landslides and frigid temperatures. Driving along the highway, one encounters breathtaking vistas. Unpredictable weather patterns add to the challenge. Snowstorms can descend within moments, reducing visibility to inches. Summer monsoons unleash torrents that threaten to wash sections away. Consider the sheer inclines. Some stretches are so steep. Vehicles struggle, losing power while gasping for fuel in thin air. Locals have nicknamed this the Friendship Highway. This name nods to the bond it creates, transcending borders. Yet it is also denoted by danger. Little known is that the route includes the highest paved road in the world. Here, the asphalt seems to vanish into the heavens. Travelers often report hallucinations from altitude sickness. These symptoms can blur the lines between reality and mind. Amidst its peril, the highway boasts breathtaking views of the Hunza Valley. This valley is home to a unique culture. Life expectancy statistics here defy belief. As night falls in this rugged terrain, the silence is profound. It is broken only by the whispers of wind against colossal peaks. The Karakoram Highway is more than a road. It is a stark reminder of human ambition. This ambition can carve through even the harshest landscapes. The White Pass and Yukon route snakes its way through landscapes that unsettle and enchant. It is a lifeline carved into the earth itself. Born from the frenzy of the Klondike Gold Rush, this narrow-gauge railway stretches about 110 miles. It bridges the wilds of Alaska with the promise of riches found in Canada's Yukon territory. Here, the quest for gold wasn't just a dream. It was a siren song that drew thousands into a harsh terrain. Survival was won with courage and grit. As trains labor up steep grades, they cling to cliffs. These cliffs drop into valleys carved by ancient glaciers. The journey involves crossing 39 trestle bridges. The most famous is the breathtakingly hazardous bridge over the icy Chilkoot River. One misstep could claim a life. This engineering feat was constructed with just a few years of work. It was thanks to the unwavering determination of the laborers. They braved treacherous conditions, including avalanches and rock slides. The original route opened in 1899. But it wasn't just a passage for prospectors. Locals and travelers alike have traversed this nerve-wracking path. They often encountered grizzly bears and moose. Unbeknownst to many, the railway was also a significant part of the military supply chain during World War II. It faced both rugged wilderness and the weight of history. Today, the White Pass and Yukon route stands as a testament to the relentless human spirit. Each journey resonates with echoes of the past. It is a reminder of the dreams and the dangers that once united two countries. In this realm, tracks whisper stories where gold was sought. But survival was the true treasure. Rohtang Pass is a high mountain pass. It serves as a critical artery between the lush Kullu Valley and the arid landscapes of Lahaul and Spiti in India. At over 13,000 feet above sea level, it unveils a world where the thin air is a constant reminder of nature's might. It is a place where snow and stone collide in an unforgiving embrace. This road, carved into the mountains, defies the very essence of gravity. It features hairpin turns and steep drops into hidden valleys. Here, every mile is a challenge and every bend a test of nerve. The weather can shift from warm sunshine to blinding blizzards within moments. The pass opens seasonally, often covered under a thick blanket of snow. It allows access for a brief period between May and October. It was first opened to traffic in 1960. This change forever altered the lives of the communities on either side. Locals often rely on this route to transport goods. Their faces are etched with determination as they navigate the treacherous roads. Surprisingly, it is not just the vehicles that traverse these perilous paths. For centuries, migratory herders have walked the same trails. They thread their way through these towering giants. Rohtang holds within its icy grasp a hidden jewel. This jewel is an ancient glacier that feeds rivers vital to the region's ecology. Beyond its beauty, it stands as a silent witness to the struggle for survival. This struggle occurs in a land that continues to yield both rewards and risks. The journey through Rohtang is not just about reaching a destination. It is an odyssey that sings the stark truth of existence in extreme environments. Here at the top, one inhales the silence of snow. You can feel the pulse of the earth beneath a glacial facade. This is where humanity and nature continue their delicate dance. D915 Bayburt Road is a serpentine stretch of asphalt weaving through Turkey's rugged landscape. It is where the sheer determination of man meets the raw power of nature. This road is a vital connector between Bayburt and the eastern reaches of Turkey. It snakes its way through steep valleys and towering peaks. It challenges the very concept of a thoroughfare. Built primarily to aid transportation and development in these remote regions. It forged a path through some of the most treacherous terrain in the country. It showcases both human ingenuity and the relentless forces of the earth. This extraordinary road measures approximately 60 kilometers. It not only facilitates travel, but also brings to life the stories of the communities it touches. From humble villages to bustling market towns, the D915 is the umbilical cord sustaining local economies. It offers fleeting glimpses into the daily lives of its inhabitants. The breathtaking vistas along this route tell tales of resilience. Mist often shrouds the mountains, transforming landscapes into ghostly silhouettes. The sun breaks through in unexpected bursts of light. Surprisingly, this artery of life is also a canvas of chaos. Weather conditions can turn from serene to perilous in a heartbeat. Rain and fog obscure the narrow lanes and sharp curves. Coupled with heavy snowfall in winter, travel can become a battle against the elements. It creates a world where urgency and caution walk a fine line. Yet it is precisely this fierce interplay of nature and human ambition that renders the D915 Bayburt Road extraordinary. Every journey along this perilous route is a testament to the spirit of those who dare to traverse it. Here, each turn in the road isn't just a change in direction. It's a step into the untamed heart of Turkey itself. Transfagarasan is a relentless ribbon of asphalt carved through Romania's Carpathian Mountains. It defies the conventions of road engineering. Born from the ambitions of Nicolae Ceausescu in the 1970s, its rugged path was conceived not for mere travel, but as a strategic military route. Stretching over 90 kilometers, it plunges into lush valleys, ascends dizzying heights above the clouds, and grips the sides of steep cliffs with unwavering determination. Driving this road is akin to navigating a living entity. Sudden weather shifts cloak the landscape in thick fog and rain. It is a place where driver and machine are tested, under the weight of 1,000 meters of elevation. Each twist and turn demands vigilance. The relentless climbs yield panoramic vistas that can both awe and intimidate. They reveal the sprawling beauty of the surrounding mountains, glacial lakes and forests, all fighting for dominance in the eye of the beholder. Yet it is not without peril. Over the years, Transfagarasan has borne witness to harrowing accidents. The steep gradients and hairpin bends have claimed more than a few record-setting moments of adrenaline. The road once served as a secret military highway, a hidden thread connecting key strategic posts. Today, it stands as a pilgrimage for adventurers seeking thrills, and a beloved attraction for travelers yearning for the wild spirit of Romania. Here, the promise of danger is woven into every mile, while the thrill of discovery beckons, with a length that stretches into legend, and a history steeped in intrigue. One might wonder what compels us to chase the edge of oblivion. Perhaps it is the understanding that life thrives in the tension between peril and beauty. Zojila Pass is a rugged artery that snakes through the towering Himalayas. It bridges the lush valleys of Srinagar and Leh. This treacherous path exists as a lifeline for the remote region of Ladakh. Winters unleash a relentless fury, burying it under feet of snow. The pass is often veiled in thick fog. It presents a paradox, an essential route for trade and travel. Yet it is notorious for its perilous conditions. As vehicles grip the narrow road, the consequences of miscalculation become starkly real. One moment of distraction can lead to life-threatening drops into the abyss. The jagged rocks below echo the whispers of lost travelers. The Zojila Pass wears its dangers like a badge. It is a testament to human perseverance in the face of nature's unpredictability. Snow leopards and Himalayan black bears roam these high altitudes. Soldiers stationed at the Indian Army's outposts guard this strategic passage. They protect it against both nature and adversaries. Surprisingly, the pass stands at an elevation of over 11,500 feet. This makes it one of the highest motorable roads globally, despite being closed during winter months due to heavy snowfall. Infrastructural projects are underway to ensure it remains accessible year-round. This underscores its importance in a region where isolation can be fatal. The Zojila's history is steeped in tales of resilience. There are stories of travelers enduring blinding storms and sudden landslides. Yet beyond its hazards, it beckons adventurers and wanderers. It calls them to forge their path across its treacherous expanse. Here, amidst the roar of engines and the crunch of gravel under tires, the pass reminds us of both our fragility and fortitude. It stands in the face of the vast, untamed wilderness. The Nares del Diablo, or Devil's Nose, is not merely a mountain. It is a formidable geological edifice boasting sheer cliffs that defy gravity. It slices through the Andes in Ecuador with unapologetic grandeur. This notorious stretch of railroad is carved from the rock face. It is an engineering triumph, a lifeline threading through almost vertical slopes. The journey along its precarious contours is an experience unlike any other. Each twist and turn reveals breathtaking views. It shows the very essence of human ambition against nature's indifference. Constructed in the early 1900s by the impoverished workers of the Ecuadorian Railway, this route exists as a testament to their resilience. Here, the train becomes a fleeting vessel teetering on the brink of the abyss. It conveys passengers between the towns of Alorsi and Sibam. The audacious switchbacks are among the steepest in the world. They demand full attention as the train spirals down the mountainside. It is a mechanical insect navigating the jagged terrain. Surprisingly, the original plan required a tunnel through the mountain. But the unpredictability of the geology thwarted these intentions. This led to the creation of this daring route instead. Amidst the whispers of the past, one learns that the locomotive's heart beats loudest at El Nares. It vibrates with the stories of a people who transformed hardship into a work of art. To ride this train is not merely a journey. It is an encounter with history, engineering, and the raw power of the Andes. As dawn breaks, casting shadows upon the rugged tracks, one cannot help but recognize that this is more than a railway. It is an exploration of persistence. It is a reminder that even in the most challenging landscapes, humanity finds a way to connect. A winding lifeline through the crags of the mountains. Kilakishto Road is where peril and necessity collide. Forged from necessity, this treacherous route can be found in the rugged terrain of the Himalayas. It serves not only as a passage, but as a vital artery for local communities, a means to transport goods and a connection to the outside world. Yet it demands a formidable toll. As vehicles navigate its serpentine bends, the landscape itself seems to conspire against progress. Sheer cliffs drop away into yawning chasms. The road often faces the constant threat of rockfalls, where the mountains seem to shed their stones like old skin. One miscalculation, one slip of a tire, can hurl both driver and passenger into the oblivion below. The road was once merely an idea, born from the cries of villagers eager to escape isolation. Today, it has transformed into a route where the journey is fraught with anxiety and adrenaline. On average, there are approximately 300 reported accidents annually, a stark statistic that weighs heavily on the minds of those who dare to traverse it. Kilakishto Road's name echoes warnings. Those who venture here do so with respect for the land's indifference. In many ways, it is a symbol of human resilience and ambition. The locals speak of their ancestors who carved these paths with rudimentary tools, a labor of love and survival. Today, it serves as a reminder of nature's untamed spirit. As daylight fades and shadows engulf the mountains, this road stands at the intersection of danger and determination, whispering tales of those who dared to forge a path where few would follow. The Passage du Gois is a striking causeway in France. It stands as a meeting point of land and sea. It is a testament to the relentless forces of nature and human endeavor. The causeway stretches for nearly 4 miles across the Atlantic. It forms a crucial link between the island of Mauritania and the mainland during low tide. But when the waters rise, the land vanishes into the depths. Only the memories of those who braved its path remain. This route is both navigable and treacherous. It draws thousands annually, igniting an intrigue that transcends mere transportation. One peculiar fact is that the causeway is submerged twice daily. It transforms from a dusty road to a watery grave. Local fishermen once challenged the tide to haul in their catch. Its creation stemmed from necessity in the 18th century. It is a human solution carved into an ever-changing landscape. What an extraordinary feat to construct a route knowing it will disappear. Yet the spirit of adventure beckons. The Passage du Gois poses risks beyond mere inundation. Hidden beneath the waves lies a treacherous undercurrent. It is ready to ensnare the unwary. In 1999, a group of visitors found themselves stranded. Their vehicles were swallowed by the rising tide. This led to a frantic rescue operation that echoed through the coastal community. The route demands respect, a reminder of nature's authority. Even as it invites exploration, it commands caution. As the sun sets beyond the horizon, it casts golden hues upon the water. The passage du Gois transforms into a canvas of shifting colors. You can sense the whispers of history. These are stories of resilience, peril, and discovery. What compels people to traverse this fleeting span? They know it could slip away. Perhaps it's the promise of connection. It could be the allure of the journey, or simply the thrill of crossing an ever-changing battleground between land and sea. The Minami Aso Railway hums its way through the volcanic landscapes of Kyushu. It is a ribbon of rail that undulates over the rocky terrain, shaped by one of the world's most active volcanic systems. Designed initially to connect the agricultural heartlands of the Aso region with commercial centers, the line's existence speaks volumes about resilience, both of nature and humanity. This railway is not just a mode of transport, it is a lifeline that weaves stories between communities, histories, and landscapes. As the train chugs along, passengers are enveloped by the rugged beauty of the Aso caldera. It is the largest in the world, and the sight of its steam vents softly hissing against the backdrop of verdant fields is captivating. Here the earth breathes and swells, reminding travelers that they are traversing land shaped by raw geological power. Surprisingly, this railway survived a devastating earthquake in 2016. The earthquake damaged sections of its track and infrastructure, but it has since been rebuilt. It stands as a symbol of perseverance in the face of adversity. The train journey offers daily encounters with the natural world. You may spot herds of wild cattle grazing and fields adorned with seasonal flowers. Each bloom is a testament to life thriving amidst volcanic soil. This is not merely a passage through a barren landscape. The Aso region boasts some of Japan's most fertile land, paradoxically born from the very destruction that volcanoes can wreak. As the engine roars to life, it carries with it the spirit of the people who have made this route their own. Here, the enormity of nature intertwines seamlessly with human endeavor. Each trip on the Minami Aso Railway echoes the heartbeat of a land molded by fire and resilience. It is a journey not just through geography, but through the very essence of existence itself. Sani Pass is a serpentine route stitching together South Africa and Lesotho. It stands as a reminder of nature's formidable force and humanity's audacity. Carved through the Drakensberg Mountains, it reaches an elevation of 9,430 feet. This makes it one of the highest vehicle passes in Africa. Its existence is a testament to human ambition against rising peaks and deep valleys. It is a swirling dance of human ingenuity and geological might. The road is often cloaked in swirling mist. It harbors dangers that keep even the bravest travelers alert. Snow, ice, and treacherous landslides can render this passage impassable. Yet it has become a critical artery for trade and cultural exchange. Local villagers have traversed this route for centuries. They carry wool and crafts, weaving their lives into the fabric of the landscape. Interestingly, Sani Pass is also home to a unique ecosystem. It thrives in its alpine conditions. Here, you'll find rare plant species that cling to life in rocky crevices. You might catch a glimpse of the rare bearded vulture soaring overhead. It plays tricks with the eye against a backdrop of endless blue. But striking beauty isn't the only thing that draws adventurers. The Sani Pass Lodge is often referred to as the highest pub in Africa. It offers hot meals and a pint at an altitude that leaves guests breathless. This pass reveals nature's raw power with every twist and turn. It stands as a constant reminder of both peril and possibility. As clouds swirl and the sun dips below jagged peaks, travelers know they are not just crossing a border, they are navigating the pulse of the land. It is a relentless journey forged through trials and triumphs. It whispers the tales of those who dared to tread this extraordinary path. In New York, verticality is not optional, it is a language. The Empire State Building represents an early moment when engineering and ambition aligned to redefine how dense a city could become. Rising from Manhattan's grid, it transforms a limited footprint into a stacked system of offices, observation levels, and mechanical infrastructure. Its structure is steel frame-based, a method that allowed height to surpass the limitations of load-bearing masonry. Instead of thick walls carrying weight downward, a skeletal internal frame distributes forces through a network of vertical columns and horizontal beams. This shift is what made modern skyscrapers possible. As the building rises, its setbacks are not decorative. They respond to zoning laws designed to allow sunlight to reach streets below. This creates its stepped silhouette, which gradually narrows toward the spire. Wind becomes a major factor at altitude. The building sways slightly, absorbing lateral forces through flexibility rather than rigidity. This controlled movement prevents structural stress during storms and high wind events common along the Atlantic coast. Inside, vertical circulation is segmented through elevator banks that divide the tower into functional zones. Mechanical floors interrupt usable space, managing ventilation, electrical distribution, and structural stability. At the top, the observation decks convert height into perception. The city below becomes a compressed geometry of light, traffic, and grid patterns stretching toward distant boroughs. It is not just a tall building. It is one of the first structures to prove that cities could grow upward instead of outward. In the American Southwest, water is controlled through mass and restraint. The Hoover Dam sits across the Colorado River like a monumental block of engineered resistance. Built during the Great Depression, it remains one of the most significant hydroengineering projects in history, reshaping both geography and energy production. Its design combines gravity and arch principles. The massive concrete structure presses downward under its own weight, while also transferring lateral water pressure into the canyon walls. This dual system allows it to withstand enormous hydraulic forces without failure. Behind the dam lies Lake Mead, a vast reservoir that stores water for agriculture, cities, and electricity generation. Water levels fluctuate based on rainfall, snowmelt from distant mountain ranges, and regional demand. The dam regulates this flow through controlled releases into turbines, generating hydroelectric power. Inside the structure, tunnels and conduits channel water with extreme force. As it passes through turbines, kinetic energy is converted into electricity, feeding power grids across multiple states. The system operates continuously, balancing supply and demand across a large geographic region. Thermal expansion is a constant engineering concern. Concrete at this scale responds slowly but significantly to temperature changes, requiring careful material composition and structural monitoring to prevent long-term stress fractures. From above, the dam appears calm. But inside, it is a concentrated system of pressure, flow, and conversion. It does not stop the river, it reprograms it. In the Netherlands, infrastructure does not compete with water. It layers over it. The Veluwemeer aqueduct returns here because it represents one of the most elegant solutions to spatial conflict between land and water transport systems. Instead of forcing boats and cars to share the same level, it separates them vertically within the same geographic point. On the surface, it looks like a normal road bridge. Vehicles move across a straight, uninterrupted roadway with no obvious indication of anything unusual happening beneath. The experience for drivers is completely ordinary. No height sensation, no visible water crossing, no structural drama. But beneath that roadway lies a functioning canal. Boats pass through a water channel that continues uninterrupted, supported by reinforced concrete walls that hold the weight and pressure of traffic above. The key engineering principle is separation of systems. Water pressure, vehicle load, and structural integrity are managed independently but within a shared spatial envelope. Waterproofing layers prevent leakage, while load-bearing structures ensure that traffic does not interfere with navigation below. From a distance, the aqueduct reveals its true logic. A road appears to float over water not by suspension, but by integration, two transport systems occupying the same footprint without conflict. It does not announce itself. It hides complexity beneath normality, a quiet demonstration that infrastructure can solve spatial conflict without visible compromise. In southern France, engineering begins long before modern machinery. The Pont du Gard is a Roman aqueduct that still stands as one of the clearest examples of ancient precision in large-scale water transport. Built nearly 2,000 years ago, it was designed to carry water across the Garden River Valley into the city of Nimes. At first glance, it looks like a bridge, but its purpose was not passage, it was continuity of water flow. The structure is composed of 3 stacked tiers of limestone arches, each layer reducing weight while maintaining structural stability. The lowest level forms the foundation, the middle distributes load, and the top channel carries water with a precise gradient. That gradient is extremely subtle. Only a few centimeters of drop per kilometer were required to keep water flowing consistently over long distances. This demanded extraordinary surveying accuracy for its time, relying on manual measurement techniques rather than modern instruments. The arches themselves are not decorative. They are load distribution systems that redirect weight into the ground through repeated compression. Roman engineers understood that stone performs best under compression, not tension, which is why the structure relies entirely on curved forms. Water flowed through a covered channel at the top level. This channel was sealed to reduce evaporation and contamination, ensuring clean transport from distant springs to urban centers. What remains today is only the skeleton, but even in its incomplete state, the structure reveals a philosophy of engineering based on durability, gravity, and repetition. It does not feel ancient in fragility, it feels ancient in permanence, a system designed to outlast its creators and succeeding. In Greece, land is not always continuous. The Corinth Canal cuts directly through the Isthmus of Corinth, separating mainland Greece from the Peloponnese with a narrow, artificial waterway. Unlike natural rivers or gradual coastal transitions, this is a sharp incision through solid rock. The walls of the canal rise almost vertically. They expose geological layers that were once buried beneath land, now standing as sheer cliffs on either side of a narrow water corridor. Ships passing through appear disproportionately large compared to the confined space, emphasizing the extreme geometry of the cut. This is not a wide maritime passage. It is a controlled fracture in the earth. The canal is too narrow for modern large vessels, so its primary role is now more symbolic and regional, but its engineering remains striking. Excavation required removing millions of cubic meters of rock without modern tunnel boring systems. Instead, it was carved gradually through blasting and manual excavation techniques over decades. The water level inside the canal is consistent with surrounding seas, meaning ships do not need lock systems. They simply pass through at sea level, guided by tight navigation channels. The psychological effect is intense. Standing above the canal, the scale of depth and narrowness creates a sense of compression, like the land itself has been split open and held apart. From above, it appears as a clean line slicing across the landscape. From within, it feels like moving through a geological wound made navigable. It does not elevate or lift. It divides and reconnects water across land through direct excavation.